Good morning. Welcome to the monthly CEG Safety Moment webinar, which is brought to you by ILG. CEG is your county employer group, and this month we're going to highlight the Safety Management Plan Discount Program. My name is Alicia Adolph, and I'm the Professional Development Manager for the Association of Counties, and thanks for joining us this morning. Today, you're going to earn a 0.5 ILG training hour. As usual, you have that chat box. You can input any comments, questions, and at the end of this live webinar, a short evaluation will pop up on your screen. Give us your feedback. Let us know of any training topics you'd like to see, or in particular, any safety training topics you'd like to see. So let's jump right in. Presenting today from the North Dakota Association of Counties, we have your CEG Safety Manager, Patrick Engelhardt. Good morning, Patrick.
Good morning, Alicia. Thank you so much for setting this up and the rescheduling and everything and all the hard work that you always put into helping us, the ILG there. So thank you, Alicia, and thanks everybody here for attending today. I'm pretty excited. This is our first time talking to you about a new discount program that we have worked out with WSI. So the CEG, the County Employers Group, we cover every county employer or every county employee across the state for workers' compensation insurance. Everybody's part of the group, and then we buy the workers' compensation insurance from WSI. And so we worked out this new discount program. We're going to talk about what this means. There are going to be some changes going forward, but this is very exciting. The CEG, the County Employers Group, was created, of course, to hopefully make the workplace a little bit safer and stop people from getting hurt and injured on or made ill on the job. But primarily, the CEG formed to save money. Of course, the way insurance works, the bigger group of insured covered individuals that you have, you spread the risk out, which drives down costs, which saves money for county governments. Of course, that's kind of one of our key things that we do in the CEG is try to find ways to save the county governments as much money as possible. And this is going to be a new way, we haven't done this before, of trying to save county government money. So let's talk about what we currently have, what we had up until today, or this year actually, for discounts. So everybody should be familiar with our every year about that September, October, November timeframe. We do this annual training, right, where we talk about things like designated medical providers, return to work programs if you get injured on the job, and drug-free workplaces. This is a discount program offered through WSI that we participate in here in the CEG. And that gives our counties a 5% discount on their workers' compensation insurance premium. Here I have, it's a mandatory program for the CEG, and I'm going to talk about what mandatory and optional means here in a little bit. Jennifer Mormon, our excellent internal case manager, leads that designated medical provider return to work program. Somebody gets injured on the job, she's going to work with the risk manager, the supervisors to find work that medically accommodates that injured worker to return them to work right away. She works with the providers to make sure that they're part of the DMP program, et cetera, et cetera. And then Mike Casey leads that annual training for the DMP drug-free workplace. That's what he's going to be doing. I'll be helping out again later this fall as we do that annual training. There's key components that we have to do, but that's that first discount program that everybody's a part of. And as long as we hit our key points for WSI, we earn that 5% discount as a group. And then in return, that money is returned to the counties for that. So that's our first discount program. The second one is the Learning Management System, or the LMS program. That is an optional program. And again, I'll talk about mandatory versus optional here in just a second. We currently have 31 of 56 locations participating. Of course, the CEG is not just the 53 counties. We also have 3 combined law enforcement centers. So 31 of 56 locations participating. And the way the LMS discount works is that we have a certain number of users that have to have a course quarterly. And as long as we hit that number, then those locations get that 5% discount. So Mike Casey also leads that program, taking over from Mike Wolf, who is pretty much all the way retired nearly. So currently we have 2 discount programs that counties can benefit from. One is mandatory because we'll talk about that in a second. One's optional. So that adds up together 5% and 5%, 10% discount of how we can earn 10% back off of our premiums that we pay each year. Now we have this new discount program, the SMP program. Again, this is going to be another mandatory program. We'll talk about that here in a second. And then this program singularly by itself can bring another 10% discount back to your county. And I will be leading up this SMP program because it just kind of lines up with a lot of the stuff that I'm already doing. So this new discount program, it's going to be some changes, but a lot of the stuff that we're doing, we've already done, or we've already begun to do those things. And so it's not going to be that much of a change. There will be some changes. We'll talk about that here in just a second. First, let's talk about optional versus mandatory. So mandatory, that DMP, return to work, drug-free workplace, and then now the SMP program. The way that we're going to be audited with this is all locations have to achieve success in that discount program for any location to receive the discount, right? So if we don't achieve success across the board as a group, then nobody gets that. So that's why it's mandatory. We can't opt out. I can't go in and try and do an SMP program for 52 counties because one county decided to opt out. It's kind of an all or nothing. Either we all do it to get it or we're going to fail. That optional, only those locations that participate can qualify for the discount. So that's those 31 locations that are currently doing that LMS. So that's the difference between that. And again, the reason why it's mandatory, we can't have DMPs in 50 counties and then 3, they won't accept that on the audit, and therefore the group won't get the discount. And if the group doesn't get the discount, of course, we can't give it to the county because there's nothing to give. So that's why they're kind of broke down like that. So let's talk about this new program and what it requires. It's kind of broken down into 4 different groups. So the SMP program, we have to demonstrate management commitment to safety. We have to conduct hazard recognition inspections. We have to conduct safety training and conduct accident investigations. So on its face, we have a lot of this stuff. We already do safety training through the CEG and in your counties and in your individual departments. We already do annual inspections of the workplaces. We already conduct accident investigations for filed claims, and then management commitment to safety. That already happens across when we purchase PPE, when we establish safe working procedures, standard operating procedures, conduct JSAs, employee handbooks, so on and so forth. So we're already doing a lot of these things. However, we might have to tweak a little bit of what we're doing in order to accomplish those goals. So let's talk about those tweaks and those 4 groups. We'll get into a little bit more specifics of what risk managers, department heads, county commissioners can expect that we're going to need to do to be successful in this program. First, let's talk about management commitment to safety. Kind of broke down into 3 areas here: resource allocation, orientation, initial and ongoing safety training, and analyzing or measuring safety performance and identifying safety goals. So that first one for resource allocation, we have to demonstrate management commitment to safety by buying folks what they need to do their job safely. That's the proper equipment for the task, PPE. Those are things that you're already doing in the counties and in the department. You're also training your people on the tasks that they have to do. The CEG contributes to this requirement by having our annual safety and ergo grant program that the counties can participate in to receive grant money for things from ergonomically correct office equipment to high visibility gear, work gloves, ice cleats, things like that. We also help by securing STEP grants and providing other resources to the counties. I know the Mikes bought a bunch of fentanyl protective gloves for the counties last year. So we try and assist with that as much as we can. The bulk of that resource allocation and then that on the job training or task specific training kind of falls on the counties, but you've already been doing that. Of course, there's always room for improvement with that, but we're already doing that for the most part. Initial and ongoing safety training and orientation. Most counties have an employee handbook or something similar, or a policy manual, or they have published memos or letters outlining certain safety policies, like perhaps a mandatory seatbelt usage, et cetera, et cetera. Continue to distribute those policy manuals or employee handbooks to your employees. We contribute to this type of training. That annual training video, every employee that you hire should see that return to work, designated medical provider, drug-free workplace video as part of their onboarding. And most of our counties are pretty good at doing that. Sometimes we might miss a seasonal returning employee, or it might take a week or two. But for the most part, we're giving that orientation, initial and ongoing safety training. That video can be a key component of that. And of course, locations should take steps to ensure employees are task qualified prior to work. We train them on how to operate the ATV before they operate the ATV, et cetera, et cetera. So we're kind of already doing those things. That last point, measuring safety performance, identifying safety goals. We kind of do that here at the CEG by focusing on either our SIF type injuries, those serious incidents and fatalities. We also focus on our high frequency claims. I'm sure everybody on this webinar has heard me talk before about slips, trips, and falls on ice and snow. That is never going to change for the rest of eternity. Every webinar I do, I mention slips, trips, and falls on ice and snow and what we can do to prevent that, right? Those are our safety performance and safety goals that we're going to look at. Of course, the CEG will handle that documentation for the audit at the end of the year, like we do with all of our other discount programs. We're going to be asking risk managers and auditors and perhaps some other people in the county to help contribute that information, but we organize it, collate it, and present it in order to get those discounts. One of the other things that we're going to do to help meet this management commitment to safety goal is beginning in July of 2025, I will have a best practices booklet that will be sent to all of the counties. It's going to be kind of a wide ranging document. We'll talk about driving safety. We'll talk about hand safety. We'll talk about slips, trips, and falls, but it's going to be in one spot where it's best practices in order to prevent injuries for certain tasks. Of course, it's not going to be all inclusive. We're going to do our best. We're going to add to it, make revisions. But by July, we're going to have that booklet out to the counties. If you choose to distribute that and use that, or perhaps use it to model your specific departments or counties' policies, that's great. That's what it's for. But that's going to be another tool that we're going to push out to the counties and help demonstrate that management commitment to safety. So in summation, there's not a whole lot that we're going to have to do differently in order to prove this plank of the SMP program to WSI. I have a pretty good feeling this isn't going to change too many people's lives or be too onerous with additional tasks. This is going to be pretty straightforward. The next one we're going to talk about is safety training. A lot of this was covered over that orientation, initial safety training as well, kind of doubles up and overlaps. Of course, we do that through the CEG, and the counties do it themselves with those employee handbooks or manuals, the task qualification training prior to going to work. We also do that annual training video. And then we have to provide ongoing safety training. The second bullet point there, I have my series of monthly safety moments that we do. We did handouts for a while for distribution. I didn't get a lot of feedback on that, but I'm going to start that again in case people want to hold monthly safety meetings or are looking for like fillers for weekly safety meetings if they're doing them in certain departments. We're going to start that up again in order to provide more proof of ongoing safety training. We're also going to do biannual campaigns. We have done a few campaigns in the past. If you remember back a few years ago, we did a winter slips, trips, and fall campaign. Again, not a lot of positive feedback with that. People felt it was kind of onerous. This one's going to be a little bit more free flowing, where we're just simply going to give you the resources. We're going to follow the National Safety Council's National Safety Month plan starting here in June. Expect one in the summer, one in the winter. Again, the winter one is more likely going to be winter slips, trips, and falls every year until we could get that that number of those types of injuries down. But we will be leading those biannual safety campaigns here in the CEG, and then we hope that you and the counties participate in all those. We will continue to produce that annual training video. Again, that's mandatory for all employees, and we're talking about expanding it slightly, rearranging the outlay of that video to include a little bit more safety training into that annual time period, whether they're watching on the webinar or it's an in-person or they're watching on video. We might be changing as well how that's delivered out to the counties. Those kind of take care of those two tasks. Again, we have our annual performance evaluation. We'll track that safety moment webinar participation here at the CEG. Again, with that annual training, it kind of falls on the risk managers to make sure that all of their employees have watched that annual training video. If they don't watch it by webinar, if they watch a video or it's in person, we'll have the sign-in sheets for that. That hasn't really changed. And all that documentation will be, again, collated and presented by the CEG for the audit. So the safety training, the few big changes, we're going to do those biannual campaigns and push them out to the counties. The continuation of those monthly safety webinars with the addition of the handouts again, and then an expanded annual mandatory training video. When we do those things, we're going to be able to check this box for safety training pretty easily come audit time. Hazard recognition. We're already doing the annual inspections of our offices and our shops. This is where one of the big changes in order to qualify for the SMP program come in. We still have to conduct those hazard recognition inspections, but instead of them being annual, they are now required quarterly. So 4 times a year for every location that we have, every building, every shop that we have to have an inspection on that. So this is the biggest, one of the biggest changes. In fact, it is the biggest change. We're going from annual to quarterly. So that is a little bit more time intensive out there in the counties, getting that shop foreman to go through and doing an inspection. But really, if we think about it with just not trying to comply with the SMP program, we should be looking more often anyway at our workplaces to identify those hazards. And in fact, I know we already are. We're just not formally documenting those inspections. As we're walking around, when we see something, a lot of folks are fixing it. Now we just have to take an extra 20 or 30 minutes, formalize the documentation of that safety inspection, and then submit that via the dashboard to the CEG. I'm always available to help with that if people need training on it, or they need a second set of eyes, or they want me to demonstrate how to do an inspection. I've done several inspections for counties in the last month here. I got one set up actually next week, Thursday. I'm going out to one of the counties, one of their road departments, to look at some issues that they have and talk through this inspection process with it. This will be more intensive on the counties. This is the biggest change, moving from annual to quarterly inspections, but it's not that huge of a change. This is going to be the spot. This is the one I'm a little bit worried about. This is the one where we really need to buckle down as a group in order to prove that we're doing this. It's going to be a lot of documentation, of course. The CEG will maintain that performance evaluation and present that for the audit. But this is the area where this is the biggest change, that move from annual to quarterly inspections. This is the spot where we need to pick it up in order to get this 10% discount. The next area, the fourth bullet point here, accident investigations. We're already doing accident investigations on every filed claim. However, this is going to be a little bit of a change as well. Mainly because currently, if a location fails to do an accident investigation on a claim, they can be assessed up to $350 for failing to do that claim or that accident investigation. Those assessments for accident investigations, because it's part of this new program now, go away. You will no longer be assessed as a county up to $350 for failing to do that accident investigation. That goes away. You will only be assessed for failure to comply with the timely reporting requirements. So if you don't file a claim within 24 hours, et cetera, that's when you're going to get your assessments. Accident investigations no longer have anything to do with assessments. Okay. But here's the kicker with it. They are still required on every accident or every filed claim, just like they always have been. But now, instead of facing the possibility of an up to a $350 assessment, now we might lose a 10% discount because we didn't do them. And so we absolutely have to make sure that an accident investigation is completed on every filed claim, every single one. Because when we go to present this audit, this is going to be really easy for WSI to audit. And if we don't have enough, we could be out of luck and we lose out on a 10% discount. So this is probably the greatest risk that we're taking by attempting the SMP program. But again, we have a 10% discount as the reward at the end of it. And so we're basically, for those counties that are currently doing LMS, we are doubling the amount of discount by taking on this program than we've had in the past. If your county currently does not participate in LMS, we are tripling your discount by taking on this program. And when we try and put a dollar number on this, of course, I can't break out all 56 locations, what 10% means to each individual location. We could probably find those numbers, Mike Casey and myself, for you if you're particularly interested. But as a group, we had about $3.5 million of premium payment last year. So if we take 10% of that off, this is a way to save county government across the great state of North Dakota $350,000 a year by doing this. So there is great financial incentive to make sure that we're doing the right thing. So accident investigations, not a lot has changed here other than the assessment piece has gone away. We still require accident investigations on every single claim. Of course, I'm here and I'm available for assistance. I can help with an accident investigation. I can point you in the right direction. I can come out and train your supervisors on it. We're here to help. we'll handle that, the collation of the information for the WSI audit at the end of the year. And we'll go on with that. But those are the key points to the program. Asking questions on these webinars isn't the easiest thing, but I wanted to save a couple of minutes in case somebody had a few questions here. We'll be getting this information out to the risk managers, other interested parties. I'm sure you could always request a copy if there's commissioners that are interested in this. You can request a copy of the webinar through the ILG, but just a couple minutes left in case there's any pressing questions, and we'll kick it over to Alicia here in case there are.
All right. Thank you so much, Patrick. Yes, lots of helpful information, and that financial incentive is huge. You talked about the importance of the quarterly inspections, and the question reads, when does the quarterly inspection requirement begin? Because it's already March.
Yeah, so we're going to start in Q2. So WSI knows that any changes to a program, especially for an employer group so large that we have over 7,000 employees, 56 locations, but really counties have multiple, 20 different departments, and they might each have 4 different locations. The standard is 100% compliance. So every location that we have every quarter, we would like to see that starting now in the Q2. We already have some locations that have done inspections in the Q1 of the year, but we want to show that continual improvement, and we want to strive for greater and greater compliance with those location numbers. As long as we could demonstrate that we're moving in the right direction with this, we are going to be good to go with the quarterly inspections. But here's the thing: if we have a county that just decides not to participate, that they're just not going to do them, that's going to be a hard sell in our audit, right? If we have 50 locations that are doing quarterly inspections, and then we have 6 locations that decided to do 0, we're going to have a hard time passing our audit. And the way that the audit is set up, the way that the program is run, if we don't get, as a group, a pass on the audit, there is no money to distribute to the counties that may have done the right thing. And so this is really about each county stepping up and doing the right thing, each location doing the right thing in order for all of us to benefit. It's kind of it's kind of scary, but it's not that hard. It's, again, a lot of the things that we've been doing, we've already been doing the inspections, the frequency of them, the biggest key change with that.
Okay, sounds good, Patrick. And then yes, somebody asked if there is a recording of this webinar to share with the directors. Absolutely, this is being recorded. You can just drop me an email and I can get that to you. And I can also work with Patrick if we need to post that on our website for more accessibility, because it is this important and we need to get going on this. We're happy to do that as well. Let's see here. If any other comments or questions slide in, we are so happy to take them. But thanks to all of you for just joining us, taking time out of your busy schedules. Next month, Patrick is going to be talking about lessons learned from ATV and UTV accidents, and that is on Thursday, May 2nd. Patrick, we got another question that slid in.
Okay.
It reads, so the DMP return to work drug-free workplace and LMS will stay in place?
Yes, this program is in addition to, not in replacement of. So those discounts, if you're already, everybody's already in DMP, return to work drug-free workplace. Everybody already does that. If you're one of the 31 locations that do LMS, that will still continue. And now we're adding this opportunity with the SMP program to earn an additional 10% discount if we, as a group, the CEG, are successful.
Okay, and just to clarify, you said 10%, so we're looking at a possible 10 or 20% discount, just some clarification coming through.
Okay, so clarification, if you are in LMS, everybody's in DMP, return to work, drug-free workplace, that's 5. If you're in LMS, that's an additional 5 for 10 that's already existing. And if we get our audit approved for SMP, we'll get an additional 10%. So it'll be anywhere from 15 to 20. 15 if you do not participate in LMS, 20 if you do participate in LMS.
Fantastic. Thanks, Patrick. Looks like that wraps it up. If you have any other questions, I know Patrick would be happy to answer them. Have a great rest of your day, and wishing you and your family a wonderful Easter. Take care.